Well, hopefully you're digging into the devotional, and I really want to encourage you to focus on those devotional questions at the end of this week. I think it's really good to be specific with God about where He wants to overflow in your life. Now, our scripture, and I don't know that I've really ever done this, but our scripture this week and for the whole series is Psalm 23:5. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. So each week we're going to take one section of that verse. This week is obviously going to be, you prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You know, when David is writing this psalm, he's likely an older man. He's writing it at a time of peace, tranquility, prosperity in his life, more than likely. He talks about what it means to have enemies. He knows what it means to experience the blessing of God. I can't help but think of David when he was a shepherd boy and how he had to take care of the sheep and how he had to feed the sheep, how as a shepherd, he had to know where all the great grass was and all the grazing pastures, where he had to know where the great water was and the streams were to feed the sheep, where he had to know like the mountaintops and the valleys, no matter where he was, even walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Maybe some of you have been there, you've been through that season. David knew what it was like to lead sheep through all of that. He knew what it was like to make them pass under the rod. Your rod and your staff comfort me, right? He knew what that meant. When a shepherd made sheep pass under the rod, it was a way of counting them and inspecting them. So God sees you. He sees where you're at. He's with you. And He's also inspecting you in a way, not in a way to be critical or judgmental, but out of love, because when a shepherd would inspect the sheep, he could see what disease they might have picked up. He could see if they were injured and what needed to be treated on their body. He could see if they had picked up parasites that needed to be removed. He was able to take a look at every single sheep. And David knew what it was like to have the great shepherd in his life through all the seasons of life, through the cave seasons, through the refugee seasons, through all of the seasons of his life, the high moments, the low moments, everything in between, killing Goliath, having his wife taken from him, everything. He knew what it was like to have God as his shepherd. And in this portion, he says, you prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. What does God want to prepare for you in 2025? What table is He setting for your life? What's on that table that will last you the rest of your life, that will transform you and cause you to do all that He's called you to do? I encourage you to think about those questions. I encourage you to get specific with God. And I encourage you to seek His heart for what He has for you.